So this is another comment I'm going to respond to kind of briefly. I think briefly. Sometimes I get on a rant and I just keep going off. But again, I'm responding to some of my comments about hell, which got a flood of comments. Somewhat surprisingly, I didn't think it would get as much as it did. But this guy says, "This is not logical. You're pretending like it is. God didn't create reality in which didn't God create reality in which makes it possible to rape? Regardless of your perception, God should go to hell by your logic, since he gives an opportunity for these things. He creates this confusing reality, then punishes people for eternity for not believing in him. Theism isn't logical because God would be held accountable for all these things just as much as the individual. You should probably grow up yourself and understand that if evil exists, God created it." So, look, theodicy, the problem of suffering and how to reconcile that with things like, God's goodness and so on. I mean, this is a question that has kept theologians and philosophers pretty busy. So, look, I mean, there's a lot to discuss here, but let me respond to a couple of things. So, this idea that creating a reality in which rape is a possibility is not the same as creating rape per se. I mean, let me just give an example. So, I create a reality in which there are biological organisms capable of extending their arm. All right? So, with that same movement, that same possibility that I've created, someone could hand someone else a bouquet of roses or they could punch them in the nose. Right? I want to create a reality in which it's possible for someone to hand someone a bouquet of roses. Okay, the flip side of that, people are going to find ways of abusing that freedom if they have evil in their heart or whatever. Now, I mean, you can get deeper into the question of the origins of evil. I've addressed that in some pretty original and profound ways in other videos I've put out. I don't want to delve into that here because I would consider that to be an advanced philosophical topic. Some people even say that that was one of the ultimate secrets of the Pythagorean school. Um, Now, also, he's talking to me as if I'm some kind of religious fundamentalist who believes that God sends people to hell for the crime of not believing in him. Where in the video did I ever advocate or defend that sort of view? Nowhere. That is not my view. I don't think you're saved by what you believe. I think salvation comes from identification with the true self and alignment with the true will. Nothing short of that. There's no magical prayer that you can say. There's no merit you can get by burning incense to a Buddha statue or anything like that. You're saved by becoming God, pure and simple. That which is not God must ultimately be destroyed. And that destruction is eternal in consequence. Not only is it destroyed, but it never existed. I don't want to get much deeper into what I mean by that right now. I have touched on some of these things in other places. But if I try to explain everything at once, I'm not going to be able to explain anything at all, right? But my view of evil, to put it in a nutshell, evil itself is an illusion. But this illusion is a necessary part of the process of divine self knowledge, which is necessary to God Himself, because God Himself cannot exist or be God Himself if He is devoid of the attribute of self knowledge or omniscience, because they're the same thing. Self knowledge is omniscience. God is all that exists. Therefore, if God knows himself, he is all knowing. You get what I'm saying? But in order to know what he is, he has to create the concept of what he is not in order to form the concept of what he is. Antithesis is necessary to any conceptualization. And so evil exists, the illusion of evil exists within this world, which is an illusion and doesn't ultimately exist, so that God can experience these non existent realities in order to know himself, which is the only true reality, which is good. Does that make sense, or have I lost you? Reflect on that, and I'm going to end this one right there. Peace.